Hello. The Divine Code reading for December 11th, pages 373 and 374. We are in the introduction to the unit on the prohibition of murder and injury. But how could Hillel's sweeping statement, that was a statement that what's known as his golden rule, that that which is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow. The rest is exclamation, go and learn. Okay, so how could Hillel's sweeping statement encompass even the Torah precepts that forbid certain actions that seem to be purely matters of personal concern? These include medical issues at the forefront of modern socio debates, such as advanced directives, that's living wills, and that'll be discussed later in chapter 7 of this section. For healthcare decisions, transgender operations, choosing between different means of reproductive sterilization, and other personal matters that are addressed in this section. Therefore, we must conclude that a person should reject certain free will choices because they are harmful to one's inner self. And even in inflicting them upon one's own self, the person is harming a fellow whom he should be concerned for. So even in areas of personal choice, a person is harming themselves by the actions of their personal choices. And therefore, they should be considering how the action affects oneself. And treating oneself as a fellow. Oftentimes we don't really see how something is affecting ourselves, and if we ask another person for their opinion, we're asking, how should I see this from an outside perspective? And the other person can speak towards the person as a fellow, and therefore we're able to see better. Advice from another person, from an outside person, can often help us to see things that we have trouble seeing ourselves. And that's in these different free will decisions, being able to make these decisions as seeing it from the outside. King David gave us the answer to this puzzle in Psalms 146, verse 2, which reads literally, I will sing to God with my life. I will chant praises to my God with my other. This teaches that a person is a composite of two entities, a life, which is the spiritual soul, and the other, which is the physical body. To sin against God's commandments is hateful to the soul itself because it bears the painful spiritual consequences of the sin. Therefore, a person should not even inflict injury upon his own body. The fellow that God has appointed to be bound up with his soul. So it's the soul that has the capacity of free choice. The body is seen as the fellow who follows along with his soul. Therefore, Hillel's argument that he should treat his fellow, what is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow, could be what is hateful to one's soul, he should not do to his body. The body doesn't have free will, the soul does. Therefore, the soul is the one making the choices over the body. By thus committing to observe both the obvious and the inner dimensions of Hillel's golden rule, each person can hasten the time when God will reveal the fulfillment of his promise in Isaiah 11:9. They will not harm or destroy on my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of God as water covering the seabed. Editor's note, which is curious because the editor is writing the introduction, I think. In our translation on the section of the Hebrew text of Sheva Mitzvot Hashem, Volume 2, we have reversed the orders of chapter 4 and 5. Okay, so that's not on the introduction. It's the editor's note is on going forward. From what's written in the Hebrew edition to what's written in the English edition, they reverse 2 of the chapters. So in case anybody's trying to compare them, they can see what happened. And somewhat rearrange the information between these 2 chapters. This was done to enhance the logical progression of the material. The correspondence between the numbered footnotes in the original Hebrew text and this translation is maintained through chapter 3 and resumes with the beginning of chapter 6. So they moved around a couple of the chapters. The footnotes, generally speaking, in the Divine Code, the footnotes correspond with the footnotes in the Hebrew edition, which makes it easier to cross-reference the 2. Chapter number 1. Details and examples of the prohibition of murder. Topic number 1. A Gentile is forbidden to commit murder or bloodshed and would be liable to the death penalty for this in a court of law. That's Rambam, The Laws of Kings 9:4. As God commanded Noah in Genesis chapter 9, verses 5 and 6, but your blood of your souls I will demand. Of every beast I will demand it. But of man, and the word Adam is used, which is in the Bible, and Adam in most contexts and traditional simple meaning, most contexts of the traditional simple meaning of the Hebrew scriptures. This term refers generically to any human being, male or female. As we see from Genesis chapter 1:27, and God created man, Adam, male and female, he created them. Thus, Adam in this context means a person. So in the creation story, when it speaks of God creating Adam, he's referring to God, not necessarily, it's not that he gives the person, we usually refer to that person as the first man as being, his name being Adam. Rather, that's just a word that means man. It also is used in the genealogical tables, and that it refers to the first person under the proper name Adam, as well as the generic name Adam. But when it comes to many of these legal texts, Adam refers to a human. But of man, Adam, of man for his brother, I will demand the soul of man, Adam. However, whoever sheds the blood of man, Adam, by man, that's also Adam, his blood shall be shed. For the image of God he made man, that is Adam. So the sages explained. And what we have here is exegesis. It's a logical parsing of these two verses to show that the halakkas that exist. There's two different ways that this happens. One way is that they look at the text and determine within the text what the laws are. The other way is if they know what the laws are, and then they find the text, they find it within the text. So see, both dynamics are usually working at the same time, where they know what the law is because they know what the law is, and they find it within the text, and learning from that also the details of the law from the text. So it's a dynamic that's working both ways at the same time. So we're learning 6 aspects of the prohibition of murder from these 2 verses, from this portion which is spoken to Noah. Quote, "Your blood of your souls I will demand," end quote, refers to one who commits suicide. That's A. B, quote, "Of every beast I will demand it," end quote, refers to one who places another person before an injurious animal so it would kill him. C, quote, "Of every man for his brother," end quote, refers to one who sends another to kill. For all these 3 cases, the verse states, that's the 3 cases, the one who commits suicide, the one who places the person in front of an dangerous animal, and the one who hires a person, sends a person to do the killing. I, that is God, will demand it. That's, quote, "I will demand it," end quote, which refers to punishment by God. And we see this this is explained in Rambam's The Laws of Murderers 2:3, the source being Rabbi Yochanan in Midrash Bereshis Rabbah, chapter 34. So in the first 3 cases, those are handled through the hand of heaven. D, the fourth example learned from this verse, quote, "Whoever sheds the blood of man," end quote, refers to one who kills actively and deliberately. Again, this is Rambam, The Laws of Murderers 2:3, chapter 2, topic 3. The fifth example, "Whoever sheds the blood of Adam within Adam," refers to one who kills a human fetus, which is a person within a person. Tractate Sanhedrin 57b, Rambam, The Laws of Kings 9:4. And 6f, quote, "His blood shall be shed," end quote, refers to the judgment of capital punishment that is meted out by a court of law. Tractate Sanhedrin 57a and Rambam, Laws of Kings 9:4. So these are the 6 categories of murder that are found within this statement by God to Noah. And the first 3 are handled by the heavenly court, and the next 3 are handled by an earthly court. Thank you.